Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say, Kalayim Liel Bashim Yashai Bashima Kakudash. The honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, GMS, to rule and teach well. I don't have to travel too far for work today, so gonna bust out a quick video and then, get myself ready to go and get out of here. So, I hit up on Telegram, part of a insider paper. I just joined their chat room. I've been a part of it for probably about a year or so, and that's where I get a lot of these articles from, because when you go on Telegram, you join these news pages, all they do is just upload news articles. People can comment on them. I think I did that yesterday. I just showed it off. But usually what I'll do is that I'll pull it off of Insider Paper, look it up on the internet, just so I can get, some of these different pages, so I know it's true. If you got a bunch of different news articles posting about it, or there's a higher chance of it being true. All these news agencies are all owned by the elites, so you don't really want to trust them too much, because they'll tell you the reason for one thing, is this, but it'll really be for something else, or they won't tell you that, oh, this is a false flag, or this and the fourth. You have to look for it yourself and look at the alternative news pages. If you're the elect, you'll be watching the videos and you'll already know that, right? If you're the hopeful elect. So all I did was look up helicopter crash, NYC. So this is right here in our neighborhood. Well, not in my neighborhood, but over right here in our state, what I mean? Not too, actually, depending on what you consider far, but, this is like a train ride away. Hudson River, fairly more, 6 people killed in Hudson River helicopter crash. You can see river crash, U.S. Sun. By Nicholas McIntyre, published April 11, 2025. 3:57 a.m. Right, so this is fresh news. Right, so plane crashes. We heard about that. I think that was in Philly and shit. Crashes all over the place, man. Right, this place is crashing down, man. Right. Now, just looking at it, I think it was on purpose, because when you go into who's guys, because they said that he didn't have fuel or whatever, and he was trying to refuel. Listed here, this is the guy's name: Agustin Escobar, his wife Mercy Camprubi Montal, and the 3 children were killed, along with an identified pilot. They're from Spain. They were just here on vacation. There's a global CBO of rail infrastructure at Siemens Mobility, while his wife worked as a global commercialization manager for energy technology, Siemens Energy. 4 victims were pronounced dead at the scene, and 2 more were declared dead at the hospital, officials said. So yeah, them and their kids, everyone that was on that plane, on the helicopter, pretty much died. Right. So yeah, pretty much just So they fall to their death. Right. So whether it is a thing that happened on purpose or not, this is just a scourge for amendment. I'm just gonna get that one and close it off, because I said I was gonna make this short. Okay, pause. Alright, so this is 2nd Ezra 16 and 18. 17. Woe is me, who would deliver me in those days. Ezra knew that he would be alive. Well, I couldn't exactly tell. He was trying to ask if he would make it through those days. But you knew about reincarnation, right? They all knew about reincarnation. Who say that I am, right? Some say that you are Moses, right? What the disciples were speaking. The disciples became apostles, were talking to Yahushai. I said, who said that I am? Yahushai said, who said that I am? Who say that I am? Like, who are the people saying that I am coming back? I said, oh, some say Moses. I think some said David. Some said Samuel, right? And then I think it was Peter who said, Apostle Peter, pretty much said, you're just You're Yahushai, right? And that was the answer that he was looking for. Because yeah, he might have been Solomon and Adam and all those different things. Melchizedek, right? Who he is and always was Yahushai. That's who he was first, right? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Right? It's the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. And it's the times that we're in, famine, great death, all these things are coming. Right? We're seeing all these tariffs come out. Right? They're saying that the stock market is doing better, but the prices of groceries are not doing better. Eventually, things are going to come to a halt and crash down. Right? The whole house of cards. Right? They only can be able to hold this Potemkin village for so long. Right? And if you don't know what a Potemkin village is, I talked about it in one of my videos. It's pretty much an idea where it comes back to the history. I think it's from Russia, where you try to make your village seem more well functioning than it actually is, right? And all these countries, have the same model, man. They do the same, the same exact thing, right? And the people in Russia, they'll say, "Hey, man, Russia's not, all beautiful and shit, like it's a rough place to be in." But meanwhile, they'll show Russia as being like, "Oh, this place is amazing," and blah 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 blah. America does it, right? China does it, like, they don't even really have free speech down there, man. They just arrest you for anything. But meanwhile, got all these videos, damn, I show speed out there, just like, hey, look how amazing this place is. Look at how cool this place looks. And meanwhile, they're grabbing people up and locking them in jail for anything. It's a snitch system. I think they still have, I remember hearing about the social credit score and things like that. Both tribulation, plague, and anguish. Tribulation, whole famine, plague, tribulation, anguish. Or sin is scourges for amendment. Right? And this is just another scourge for amendment, like 9/11 was a scourge, right? Which, as we all know, you have the Amalekites involved, right? This thing, it's not just, say, these guys are just dudes from the desert, just some Ishmaelites. But no, they trained those Ishmaelites and funded them and trained them. I believe one of them even was like trained at like the Air Force Academy, like his name comes up, right? And these guys are CIA assets. Osama was, but he operated under a different name, right? So yeah, they don't talk about this thing, the CIA assets that they have, and they prop up as these villains, or people that were once CIA assets, but then maybe turned their back on the U.S. I think that was the case of Saddam, I believe it was in his case. I know Iran has a history of working with the U.S. and then turned their back on them because they saw the bullshit that this place pushes out and how they deal. And for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, right? So they're not going to be mindful of the scourges. There's another crash that happened, right? And here you have it happening in New York City in the Hudson River. Because it's called the Hudson River, I assume it's by Hudson Yards. I don't really know the geography. Even though I live here, I don't pay attention to the geography that much. I think I have a rough idea where the Hudson River is, but no, that's not too far. It's not like miles and miles, like 45 and miles and miles away, like someplace upstate. Right? But these people here in this place, in America and New York, they're not going to change. They're going to keep doing the same nonsense. So let that be that little edifying to see Shalom.